محمد وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لحظة أبدا على نعم الله وأفضاله. اللهم آتنا من لدنك رحمة وعلمنا من لدنك علما. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نويت تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء ومرضاته وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدنك وشبصات الهدى يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وسيدنا محمد. اللهم ألهمنا علما نتقي به وأمرك ونواهيك ورزقنا فهما نعلم به كيف نجد يا رحمن. اللهم تحملنا المرسلين وإلهم الملائكة المقربين في عافيتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أغننا بالعلم وزينا بالحلم وأكرمنا بالتقوى وزدنا بالعافية يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم إنا نستودعك ما قرأناه وما نقرأه في هذا المجلس وما قبله وما بعده، فاحفظه علينا حتى ترده إلينا وقت احتياجنا إليه يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أكرمنا بنور الفهم وأخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم، وافتح لنا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا حكمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم يا من مقاليد الأمور كلها في يده وإليه يجمع كله، يا فتاح يا عالم، يا فتاح يا عالم، يا فتاح يا عالم، افتح علينا فتحا قريبا. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وسدد لساني واهدي قلبي بعد أذنك بأحبابك أبدا، وارزقنا كمال وحل على رفيق والفقه في الدين وعدم الإخلاص والصدق واليقين والعافية والغنى والنصر والحفظ والنفع والانتفاع وخير دارين وعلوم الأولين والآخرين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين يا رب العالمين. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. We're continuing with our Aqidah, and inshallah today we have come to the Kaabah. The Kaabah is no, well, are we there? Are we moving in? Are we moving in, right? القرآن إمامة. So we're Kaabah the qiblah. You finish Kaabah? Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Of the Quran Imama, we talk about the Quran and about the Kaabah. I will the Kaabah the qiblah. So just a revision on that. Either the Kaabah, that we believe that it is the first house for worship built on the face of this earth, and in fact the first house altogether, and that human beings that was for human beings who worship on the face of this earth, and that was built by Nabi Adam alayhi salam. So from the very beginning, and all of this is proof that our religion is correct, right? Because it has been established from the very first human being, and that is a sign of the truth of a religion. It did not begin halfway through, right? Because if it's true, then what about the people that came before the founder of the religion, right? So if the very fact that a religion was founded by a human being, right, is proof in itself that it's not true, right? Because if it's true, then all the human beings before the founder, who existed before the founder, what were they doing? Who were they worshipping? You get it? right? So Islam is from the first human being, from Nabi Adam alayhi salam. Right? They all say the same thing, from the first human being to the last human being, is one truth, full stop. Right? So the Kaabah from the very beginning is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Hajj was instituted from the very beginning. In fact, all our arkan Islam, right, all our pillars of Islam, they were established from the very beginning. So every prophet prayed, and they have, but the laws are a bit different with prophet to prophet. But every prophet prayed. Of course, the Shahada, every prophet believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the people around them, right? And then every prophet gives zakat. Zakat wasn't an amount, but every prophet had their own sharia that was specific to them. Every prophet had fasting, but a sharia that was specific to them. And every prophet had hajj, right? And there is a sharia they'll come to the Kaabah. Right? So mashallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had with Allah's love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah changed the qiblah from Baitul Maqdis to the Kaabah. And someone could ask the question, why didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just make the qiblah towards the Kaabah in the first place? Because it has been there since Nabi Adam alayhi salam. And where was the qiblah of prayer to Baitul Maqdis from the very beginning? And of course you say Allahu Alam, Allah knows what he does, what he does, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But from the Quran itself, in the same page where Allah speaks about the change in the Qibla, Allah mentions to see which of you will follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, so of the fa'idah that we can see from the Quran itself, that to see complete obedience. Because what happened to the Yahud, the Jews, was that their desire was Baitul Maqdis. They loved Baitul Maqdis. We also love Baitul Maqdis now, right? And so for them to change the Qibla, right, from Baitul Maqdis to the Kaabah, it was heavy on their nafs. The nafs struggled with it. But the nafs was like, no, ta'zeem, to aggrandize Baitul Maqdis, because the Kaabah is associated with the Arabs. So the Arabs are there, right? And the Yahud, the Jews, they looked down on the Arabs. In the time of Rasulullah, especially, they were very vocal about them disdaining, or looking down on the Arabs. And they saw the Arabs as lesser than them. And they used to call the Arabs eaters, used to, idol worshippers. They used to really look down on the Arabs. So now the last prophet is Arab, and now the Qibla is changed from what they aggrandize, now is to the Kaaba. So now the last very heavy on the this change in the Qibla, and that is just Allah making very clear who are those who really follow the book of Allah. They knew it in the Torah. It was mentioned the final prophet will change the Qibla. So they knew it, that he was going to change the Qibla. It was going to be by his hands to the Qibla. So as long as he was not changing it, and he was praying towards the Maqdis, they were very happy, because to them it was a sign that he's not a last prophet. And Rasulullah, at the moment he went to Medina, right, he already felt the disturbance in his heart, right, that he had to back the Kaaba to face Baitul Maqdis. For as long as he was in Mecca, he could always pray himself with the Kaaba in front of him and towards Baitul Maqdis, because you live in Mecca, so it's easy. You stand behind the Kaaba, right, and you pray towards the Kaaba and Baitul Maqdis. But when he went to Medina, it was difficult. In fact, there was one Sahabi, if I remember the story very well, correctly, there was one young Sahabi of the Ansar. He was of the Ansar, one of the Ansar, right, who, when they were coming to give bay'ah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, this Sahabi, right, he was one person, but he would pray facing the Kaaba. It was before the law. That came down, the Qibla had changed. And his companions were blaming him and saying, how could you do that? The Qibla is towards the Maqdis, not towards the Kaaba. And this very young Sahabi, if I get the story, inshallah, I'll get the story. But I think Habib Umar mentioned the story, or in the tafsir of this ayah, the story was mentioned. Because he passed away. This Sahabi passed away very soon after. Then his state was told to Rasulullah, And the Rasul said that the answer was to the effect that he did what was natural. Right? There was something natural about him so strong that he naturally knew the qiblah was this way. Right? Towards the very interesting, mashallah. There was a story about one Sahabi. Actually, I get the riwayat out. Right? But I know Hadith mentioned it in one of his Sirah classes and in one of his tafsir also. So he by himself decided no, the qiblah is towards the Kaabah. And he prayed towards the Kaabah before the ruling came down. And all the Sahaba, they were blaming. And if you go to the tafsir of these verses, there is one part the wahy. Right? So Allah saw his face waiting for the wahy, to come down. But with adab, he never asked. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mashallah. But just waiting, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And that is why we know, we understand the qasida of Imam al-Haddad, right? That Allah's knowledge of my hand, right? In Qadafani, Rabbi, min su'ali wa ikhtiyari. Right? قد كفاني عنه ربي من سؤالي واختياري. It is enough my Lord's knowledge of me from me having to ask, because He knows what my heart desires. Right? He knows what's inside my heart. And even in the word of Shaykh Abdul Salim, there is one part, Allahumma inni, what was I? The word of Shaykh Abdul Salim. Second part. It goes, Allahumma Sayyidina Muhammad. Let me get a read. Allahumma ya Azim Rasulullah. There is one part in the wirid, there's one part in the wirid that goes, let me do the whole thing, Allahumma ya Azim Rasulullah. Allahumma what's the ayat in the beginning? Read together, okay? Allahumma ya Abdul Masruqa, ya Karim al-Ihsan, ya Daim al-Ni'am. So, ya Rabbi ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alayhi ajma'in. Allahumma inni na'am, that's ayat, right? What's it? Allahumma man yahtaju ila bayani wa tafsir hajatuna kathir wa anta alim biha wa khabir. That part is my favorite part in the entire video. Allahumma man la yahtaju ila bayani wa tafsir. Oh Allah, oh the one who does not need us to explain to you, right? And to you first means to open up our hearts to you. You know everything already, ya Allah. Hajatuna kathir. We have a lot of needs. وَأَنْتَ عَالِمٌ بِهَا وَخَبِيرٌ. And you know very well what we need. And you're all aware. Allahumma inni akhafu minka. Allahumma la yakhafu minka. This is the dua. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And Sheikh Abdul Salim, he put his dua down and he covered everything. You know, and I used to be very emotionally affected by this part of the dua. Because Ya Allah, you know, you don't need bayan wala tafsir. You don't need me to say anything to you. You know exactly what I need. I don't have to say it. What do I need? You know. وَحَاجَتُنَا كَثِيرٌ. We have a lot of things that we need. And you know very well of what we need. And you are the one who will give. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in a sense that you see there's a story of the change the qiblah. Rasulullah had a very strong desire for the qiblah to be towards the Kaabah. But his adab with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped him from asking. And Imam al-Haddad said the same thing. لَقَدْ كَفَانِي عَلْمُ رَبِّي مِنْ سُؤَالِ وَاخْتِيَارِي. That Allah's knowledge of me is enough for me from having to ask and to choose. Then why do we ask? شَهِدُنِّي بِافْتِقَارِي. Why am I asking? It is a witness for myself, right, that I am desperate and destitute and a faqir, right, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why I ask. Right? It's the entire sir of dua, right? The entire secret of dua. Right? That Allah can give what He wants to give, right? But we ask to put ourselves at the feet of or to put ourselves as slaves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah loves those who ask Him. He loves it because we go into our ubudiyah, right? Our full slavehood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We desperately ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah loves it when His slaves ask Him. To the point Allah said that Musa alayhi salam, "Oh Musa, ask me even for the salt in your food. Ask Allah for everything that you want." So either you're asking to be by uttering or just a desire in your heart. And you know Allah is seeing it. MashaAllah. So with the Yahudi, when it finally happened, they began to say things to the Muslims like, you know, one day they were facing Baitul Maqdis, the next day they face the qiblah, and what kind of, you know, fickle religion is this? Like change. While they know this is the sign of the last prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they know, and the Jews, they know of the Kaabah in Mecca because it was built by Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. So they have a lot of pride over Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, to the point Allah schools it in the Quran. And when the Jews, oh, Ibrahim is ours, and the Christian says, oh, Ibrahim is ours, and Allah says he's before Judaism and Christianity. What's wrong with you guys? Nabi Ibrahim was before that. No, but he's Hanifan. He's an upright worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't say he's a Jew nor Christian. The Jews and Christians came after him. Does it make sense to claim him to be a Jew or Christian? But he was a prophet, Hanifan Muslima. He is of the first of the believers. And so, mashallah, and so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it was a test. It was a test, right, on the people of the book. Right? And for the Muslims, they were more than happy. Right? They rejoiced with the change of the qibla when it finally was revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the next ayat that we're going to go into, وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِخْوَانًا. وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِخْوَانًا. And this is one of the most, okay, to me personally, is the most difficult part of the aqidah. Is the most difficult part. Why? Because the first 5 are all perfect things. They're all perfect. The last one about believers are not perfect. Right? So to make all believers, to treat all of them as your brethren, to have full husnul dhan of them, a full opinion of them, to love them, right? To care for them, to go all out for them, right? To even treat those who treat you badly, treat them with goodness, right? This is very hard on the nafs. If you go from before, raditu billahi rabban. Now, he is Rabb, I am Abd, right? I have no choice but to be content with his decree. It makes no sense to not be content with his decree. Understand that? Well, the Islamic deen, now the Sharia, right, is full of hikmah. I have full belief in the Sharia. I can obey Sami'na wa ta'ana. No problem. Right? Inshallah, no problem. Sami'na wa ta'ana. Pray for them today, can. Fast Ramadan, inshallah. No problem. Right? Inshallah. These are all much easier than the last one right here. Right? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nabiya wa Rasulah. Now, right? The sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is beautiful. Right? You know, what's there not to like? Right? Everything about him we have read on. Right? He has the best way of life. And the Quran imama, na'am. Right? Quran, I mean, who does not love the Quran? Right? If someone doesn't read the Quran, they love it. Even the worst of Muslims, right? Even the most sinful of Muslims, they have ihtiram for the Quran. Quran is Quran. There was once years ago, someone, I don't know, actually, someone showed me a video of an actor, right, but from Bollywood, years ago. I think I can't remember his name. It was someone Khan. But anyway, there was like some sort of video of the award. They did some of celebrity award, Allahu Alam. Then there was an azan in the background, and the actor stopped the award to hear the azan. No, it was like a majlis. I not a majlis, and it's celebrities, right? But a ceremony whereby they were giving out awards for acting. So this Bollywood actor who's a Muslim, right? You know, he had you can hear in the video the azan. So they had the azan, and he actually said it on stage. Salman Khan. I don't have all kinds of sins and whatever. I mean, he's a Muslim. They're not, but he was on stage. So he stopped the ceremony because the azan was being called. And for all you know, by the one deed that he did in front of everybody there in a world of celebrities and non-Muslims, it could be that one deed would cause for all of his sins to be forgiven. And it could be that one thing was ihtiram, you know, to own the sha'a'illah. This is the signs, the emblems of Allah. For all you know, not to be shy, not to be shy about non-Muslims. Hey, sorry, the azan is on. Can you all just wait for a while? This is 2 seconds. Like, if I'm non-Muslims in an event that's not Islamic, it's a celebrity event. I saw the video years ago when I was in university or something. Someone showed me the video years ago, and he actually stopped the ceremony just for the azan to be heard, right? And after the other thing, mashallah. So you never know. But that's why you can say that Muslims, no matter what they are, right? Like 3 things that Muslims they always honor, no matter what kind of Muslims they are. They could be alcoholics. They could be wearing like the most sinful of clothing. They could be doing all kinds of things. While you talk about the Quran, right? Don't you dare to the Quran on the floor. That any Muslim like, oh, Quran, and they pick it up. This is Quran, and they feel so defensive, about the Quran. Second one is the Prophet. It's something that the non-Muslims admire. That you cannot say anything about our Prophet. That we will defend him to our last breath. Mashallah. Mashallah, it should be the way. Now, Allah Alam, now I said to the youngsters who have studied. Those who study in the universities are more problematic than those who don't. Because I find that those who go to universities, they tend to question the Prophet. And by those who don't, reach a level of worldly studies, they have a humility about them that's so refreshing. So even though they are sinful and they do all kinds of sins, right? But they have a humility about them. So you say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you cannot say anything bad about them. And as you mentioned, the salat. Even if they don't pray themselves, they will respect the salat. So they won't walk in front of, or they won't they will respect someone praying over there. Inshallah, it's preserved. Nowadays we are seeing it being eroded. Now it used to be that the Muslims would really respect someone who prays in the room. Everybody else know your voice, and someone who is praying. But nowadays, Allahu Alam, maybe preserve this in our children. Basically, to respect the sha'a'illah, to honor the ta'zeem of the sha'a'illah, the signs of Allah, right? That is from taqwa of the hearts, and that could very well be the very reason somebody is saved in the next world. Because for a moment, they respected something of Sharia, something of Islam. He was said that one of the sinners, the time of Shaykh Abdul Jalani, on a very, very terrible sinners, right? And he was known for his drinking and whatever, very terrible sinner. But there was one time he walked past the majlis of Shaykh Jalani and he said, MashaAllah. Just a ta'zeem, just like an exaltation in the heart of Ahlillah. Right? A man of Allah, Shaykh Jalani, a man of Allah. It's a slight moment, and by that Allah forgives sins. Allah forgave the man's sins just by that moment of seeing a wali and then having this, Ya Allah, MashaAllah. No, he's not like him, but he had this exaltation. And the story of actually always mentioned, in fact, it is ascribed to one of the Hawariyyin, right? That happened to Nabi Isa alayhi salam. When Nabi Isa was walking with the Hawariyyin, there are three narrations of this story of basically a righteous person with his disciple, his student. And they were walking, and a sinner saw them. And the sinner said, you know what? I want to look at that Hawariyyin. He's so righteous, a Sahaba of Nabi Isa, Ruhullah, alayhi salam, and he was admiring the follower of Nabi Isa, right? And so he said, if only I get some barakah from that person. And so the sinner walked behind the Hawari and stepped in the footprints of the Hawari, right? So he stepped in the footprints with intention, full husnuzan, that I get the barakah of this person's ibadah. He's a follower of Nabi Isa, so he followed. At the same time, the Hawari was like, the sinner is walking behind me. I don't want the bad effects of that sinner behind me. So the person behind had full husnuzan of the worshipper in front, and the worshipper in front had full su'uzan of the sinner behind. And at that moment in time, Allah forgave the sinner all of his sins. And Allah blanked out the good deeds of the worshipper. So they became sin. They became both on ground zero, sin. And Allah revealed to the Prophet that Isa alayhi salam, right, that tell your follower, right, that by his su'udhan of the sinner, all of his good deeds went down to zero. So it's so scary. He went down to zero, and tell the sinner, by his husnuzan of the worshipper, his bad deeds were all wiped out. Right? All forgiven by Allah, and they are the same. And now the same. Oh, Allah. I think it's all this is why, husnuzan. And we're going into the last part, which is the most difficult. So as mentioned, Quran Imaman is easy. The Quran is all correct. The Quran is pure. The Quran is a miracle, mu'jiza. And when you say, well, Kaabah qiblah, this is the easiest. Just with the Kaabah, this is the Kaabah, and pray. Which Muslim does not love the Kaabah? Even small children, I want to go see the Kaabah. I want to see the Kaabah. Like there's this entire, obsession about the Kaabah. Right, so the first 5, easy, inshallah. The last one, because you're talking about those who are imperfect. The beliefs are imperfect. So that Islam forces us. It's a forcing, it's not a choice. You're forced to honor every person who says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Right? To love them, to have a good opinion of them, to not hold a grudge against them, to not feel negativity about them. You have to remove everything of this thought from your heart. That's where the struggle comes. That's why Habib Muhammad al-Haddad, I'm not wrong, Ali Mashur, both of them had the same statement, right, about how many of us answer the last question to the angels in the grave. When the angels say, وَمَنْ إِخْوَانُكَ, مَنْ إِخْوَانُكَ, who are your brothers? And you can only answer if you're hal. You can't answer by memorizing the answer. Right? So if you had mistreated a believer in this world, if you had gossiped, lied against, slandered, and hurt, disregarded, whatever, if you had done something to a believer in this world, how are you going to answer? And the angels say, kadabta, you have lied, but you slandered so and so, or you begged it so and so, or you lied and you cheated and this and that and whatsoever. It's the most difficult part of our statement. You can see in your grave, al-mu'minuna ikhwan. Right? So what are the rights of our brethren? What are the rights of our brethren? So meaning being brothers, to love them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to honor them and their wealth, their blood, and their dignity. Right? So 3 things. So loving them for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means to want goodness for them في dunya wal akhirah. Right? So define the word love. Right? The word love, right? The word love in the Sharia, right? The ta'rif, right? In the dunya, the word love means mail qalb. And it means my heart is attracted or inclined towards the person. I say, I love that person, right? So that's why in English, you can say, I love food, because your heart is inclined towards food. You know, I love cats. My heart is inclined towards cats. I love, you know, so you have love in the English language that mean that. But the real meaning of love is iradatul khair lil-ghayr. It means iradatul khair al-mahbub. That is the meaning of love. That you want goodness to the beloved, for the beloved to have. That is love. That is true love. Fillahi ta'ala, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So if you say for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you want goodness for an individual, fi dunya wal akhirah. Fi dunya wal akhirah. So that is why you see, you know, for parents, it's a very natural love that comes from parents and grandparents. Like, why? Because you want all goodness for them. Right? To the point that you want that they go above you. Right? Whatever you achieve in your life, especially because your own ibadah, you want them to actually go past you. Right? In their taqwa, in their iman, in their amal, in their ibadah, you want them to go way past you. That's because you love them. So you want what is better, what is good for them. MashaAllah. This is a very, it is, I don't know, you see how we mentioned, or even that one is Lugatan. Lugatan, is al-shara. I wrote it, istilahan, or the one whereby it's intention towards something is a dunyawi ta'rif. It's a dunyawi understanding of love. So that, and there is it can be a very selfish love. Right? It can be a very selfish love. Because I'm inclined towards so and so, right? Therefore I will keep so and so by my side, and she cannot go to anybody else. It's a very selfish. So I love this food, I love it. So I want to eat all of it. The kind of thing, you know, this kind of like selfish stuff. Right, mashallah, I you know, sometimes I had students and they're eating together, and this girl, they're working together, and this girl was chicken in the center, she took the whole like thigh and drumstick and put it on her side. And so of course, you do it wrong, so I'm going to say something about it. So I thought, hey, why do you take the entire piece and put it on the side? Oh, because I love it. And anybody else? No one else loves it. Right? Put it in the center. Share. Right? You know, because I do it. Yeah, you and what, nobody else. Soft parts. The soft part of the chicken, the thigh and the drumstick. Of course, everybody else also loves it. Not just you. But that would be a selfish love. It's a very selfish love, right? The other ta'arif, the other definition is Islamic. Right? It's correct definition is how we can see that the Prophet loved the ummah, right? Because he only wants goodness for the ummah. And you can also understand from this Allah's love for us. So of course you can't apply Allah, the first definition, you know, of the heart being inclined. You can't apply to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and mustahil, right? It's not in its right for him to be inclined towards so and so. No. Right? But Allah wants goodness for us. Yes, ihsan. So he sends his rahmah onto us. So it is in the book of Aqidah. How do we understand Allah's love? They say mahabbatillah wa rahmatuh. And that is mahabbah. Wa bughd. Right? Bughd is hatred from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Huwa la'n. ما هو لعنة is curse. What is the curse? Any who are it is to make someone far from the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is la'na. Right? So mashallah, say أبغض رجال إلى الله لدن خاص. For example, in a hadith, right? The most hated person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the stubborn, quarrelsome person. So what does it mean? He has received, or he is far from Allah's rahmah. Right? Someone who receives Allah's hatred on them. Right? So you can't understand it the way we are human beings. Like, human beings' hatred means, that's my hatred of a thing. So when I hate cockroaches, like I see a cockroach, I hate it. Right? Which means that I'm going to go as far as possible from the cockroach. You know, for example. Right? So mashallah. So love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wanting goodness. Yesterday during I think it was yesterday during Rawha or during anyway it happened yesterday. Happy was saying محبة الخير للغير. محبة الخير للغير. He was saying that yesterday. That is the but so it's mahabba. Love, mahabba to khayr, right? To want goodness for others. That is love. Right? So, and from there comes the understanding of no hasad. How in the world can you have hasad, right? When you're supposed to have love, right? So, and now, so you can see so many people in our zaman, amongst the Muslims, they fail because they have hasad, right, against other believers, to the point whereby people are doing black magic. And unfortunately, you might think it's the modern time, so on. Like why are people still, it's getting more and more all around the world. It's getting more and more right in very modern societies. Good things is the thing about the past. Black magic. Black magic is alive in our zaman. You could go to Carousel or you could go to Shopee and you could search for black magic services and items. You could, I stumbled upon it. I was like, this is so scary. You could actually purchase it. People, and they will do it for you. You can actually buy it. I don't know what they call it, but there's a name for it. You could actually go online and buy potions. You could buy potions. People are selling potions online. This is not fake. It is real. It's all real witches. They are witches because they are sahir. And it's sahar, right? They are magicians. And they sell their stuff online. And the earning money is the hundreds. The hundreds is stuff online. Right? And hawla wala quwwata illa billah. So where does the mu'minina ikhwana come in? And where does it come in with people who are putting black magic onto their own family members? I have stories of it. Many stories about this. It's happening in Tarim. In Tarim is happening, in Singapore is happening, in the UK, in America, in Indonesia, Malaysia, in Africa. It's all over the world. And you can talk to any community, they'll say, yeah, it's happening all around. People are putting black magic on each other, and it's Muslims onto Muslims. And this is a story of a lady, a bomo meaning like a magician, right? In Emirates. She was in Emirates, right? So the neighbors had called in on her. Even in our zaman, the neighbors had called in on her that they suspect she was doing stuff to the neighborhood. So the police raided her house. Oh, and they found things that was so disgusting in the house, like bottle jars of blood and bones and hair. Like the entire house was reeking of decomposing items. So she was doing a lot of sihr, right? And they said that they found a book, like a logbook that she had. When they opened it, and they seized her, they seized everything. Because she was doing a lot of it's all under it's crime. This is crime because it's magic. Right? And when you look into her logbook, right, this after what's all this means. And she said, this is the one I do magic for. Okay, so this is for her. And these are the people who ask for it. That means they pay me. They're the ones who ask you to do magic on these people, right? And the center column is the relationship between them. Right? And the police, they are reporting, and they said the majority of them was direct cousin, direct auntie, direct uncles, and a majority of them were women were doing it. Women, right? Or neighbors, or even best friends. And the closest people were the ones doing it. Right? She said it's not mustahil. The Sahira is talking, the magician is talking. It's not, this is not surprising. It's the closest family member who's doing it, right, to other family members. How do we answer How do you answer that if you're going to be happy that other people are happy, right? And how do you want goodness for them if it hurts you that they are happy? It's a sickness, right? And as Muslims, we need to speak out loudly about it, and really, it's people on them that their life revolves around someone else. Because one of the statements in English is that jealousy is one of the highest compliments. If someone's jealous about you, right? It's one of the highest compliments from someone else, from your enemy. Right? So if your enemy is jealous about you, they're seeing that I'm better than her, right? Right? Jealousy is a compliment, technically, but it's a shar, it's an evil, right? But the very fact that you're seeing stuff about me that you want, right? Or not that they want, that they hate that I have it. Right? So in Arabic, there are two forms of jealousy, right? Now, there are two forms of jealousy, right? Whereby the first form is that a jealousy that they hate the person has it and they want it. So there are those who are like that, and there are those they hate and the person has it, even if they don't have it. Right? And if I can't be happy, no, if I would have her depressed, even if I don't get it. It's like a soul, like yeah, and there is admiration. So before you use the word admiration. So admiration, which is you see someone having good, you admire, and you want it for yourself. Without them losing it. So admiration would be a good word, because it's a positive word. I admire you. I admire your traits. I admire your qira'ah. I admire your family. I admire your children. I admire they're so righteous. I admire them. Right? Admiration would mean that I love that they are like that. And I wish for myself as well. Right? But this hasad, there are those who they want to strip the person of the goodness and take it for themselves. So there are those who do that, and there are those who just, no matter what, destroy the person's life, even if I didn't get it. And that is the most disgusting, and it is alive in our time, alive. Right? So, but mashallah, may Allah protect us from the hasid. That is why. Yeah, it's right. This is why of the Sharia they will say that those who have hasad, right, they are actually having a war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Because as if saying to Allah, Ya Allah, you were wrong in giving her that husband, or in giving her these children, or giving her that looks. Right? In a sense, it's saying that, to Allah, that Allah did something wrong in giving it to her. And Imam Ghazali says that, the worst hasid is the one who's having a hasad over dunya. Dunya is not even the wing of a mosquito, and having a hasad about dunya, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. And when Imam Ghazali in his book speaks about hasad, he speaks about akhirah, to the ulama. So ulama and hasad, right? And it's quite that terrible also. The hasad always, the person memorizing so much, praying so much, so many followers, so many this, so many that. Hasad is part of any akhirah. But he was saying that if you're gonna have hasad, make it worthwhile. Like, why are you gonna have hasad about money? Money comes and money goes. We have hasad about looks. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Or being hasad about someone else's family. Like, la hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Right, so mashallah, I know many people who struggle with this, right? But mashallah, those who struggle with black magic in their lives, it's all kafar. I see as kafar. That Allah is forgiving your sins. Right, inshallah. And dua for the one who's doing it. Because they are in a worse situation that they can't get over their hatred for someone so much that they're going into it. And our deen calls to something on the other extent. Treat everybody like your brother. Subhanallah. And so this is his last part of Rabbina bil Mu'minina Ikhwana. It's one of the most difficult things to establish in your life. MashaAllah. So love the Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, honor them and their wealth. Like, honor them and their wealth. And there was someone who was saying, one of my students was saying that we need to teach our children that when you come to someone's house, you don't damage things or ruin things or mess up the house and walk out. These are people's wealth, people's things. Teach them adab. Right? Teach them adab. You don't have a right to damage people's stuff and then go off. Subhanallah, that day I was one of Faiza, Faiza said, I don't know what she said. But she doesn't in. But Faiza was saying to me that because last year we had used one of our friends' apartments for a dawra. We had some knowledge overnight, whatever. And she said she never told me about it because I would rush off for my classes. But she will handle it, Faiza. And she will handle it. And she said she would have to handle chipped cups, chipped mugs, broken plates, all kinds of things that happen in the house that whoever did it did not see. It's people's house, people's stuff. If your child broke something, pay for it. You don't have to sneak out or something or not say anything about it. I mean, so I was like, when my father told me, I was like, where are the parents? Where are the parents? Right? That if every week I have to share to answer to the Sahib Bayt, right, the owner of the house, how come things are being damaged in the house? And I said that, do you know who are the people who damage these things? I call them to account. And you wonder, like really, what's going on? How could you come to someone's house, damage their stuff, and walk out? And not offer compensation, I'll pay for it. I will offer something. Don't just walk out. But mashallah, I've also had in my own house, there's a plants in my house, and people would come and their children would damage things in the house, and they would say, "Oh, sorry," and they'll say, "Offer to fix it." Subhanallah. The property of a believer, right, is a haq of brotherhood. It's a haq of brotherhood, the property of a believer. Right? So don't you go into people's houses and ruin their houses and then just walk out. At least, most of them are gracious. It's okay. They'll say, but at least you need to settle your score with them. And then just walk out and then they're so upset with you or disgruntled that you couldn't care less of it. You come with your family and then you just ruin everything and you walk off. At least, offer to fix it. Offer or give money or something. Well, of course, we will reject. Most of us will reject. No, it's okay. We'll handle it. But at least, you have to offer. It's just good manners. So the property of a believer, right, is haram on you to ruin. The honor of believer is haram on you to ruin, and that is why ghiba or backbiting is haram, right? The blood of a believer, right? So it's haram to hurt a believer, right? Physically and also emotionally, right? To on purpose hurt someone emotionally. There is a hadith that the breaking the heart of a believer, right, is worse than tearing down the Kaabah, brick by brick. To break the heart of a believer, right? To break the heart of a believer is worse than tearing down the Kaabah brick by brick. And this breaking of the heart is basically on something that is a zalim, right? A zalim, right? So people who go around commenting on other people and don't think twice about it. How there are people who are like that. They go around commenting, like on your children, on your face, on your looks, on your body, on your everything. There's comment and comment and comment. And you're wondering, what's the fa'idah? What is the fa'idah? What is the benefit in them doing that? I say, your child's so short, eh? Thanks. Like, why was he call my child short? Why? I don't grow him. Allah grows him. I can't even pull him. I don't know. Hey, your child is this. Your child is. Sometimes la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Sayyidina Aisha, whenever a newborn happens in the community, someone gives birth, she just asks, is the child healthy? That's all she asks. Is like anything else? Is this child healthy? And when you say healthy, alhamdulillah. Like, she's so sensitive, but she won't even ask the gender, because it could be that someone feels offended. That you say, and I know one of the sorry ever pointed out before that in the community right now in this world, when someone says, "Oh, do you have a boy or girl?" and the person says, "Or a girl," or inshallah next time you get a boy. And like, what's wrong with my girl? Why would she say that? Sometimes they say that the same things. They mean well. Khalas. For all you know, the person was very happy. Like, you made a comment, and you just, I don't know. Sometimes you don't know what you say hurts people. You really don't know what you say hurts people. Like saying, "Hey, your child is so dark." So dark, your child. Your husband. Alhamdulillah. Or the best for going around commenting on first what, "Hey, you gain weight, you lost weight, you did say that." My husband gets so fed up with this kind of comments, like, they have nothing deeper to talk about. It's so shallow. Every single time they see you, their comment will be about your body. They say nothing else about me, you see. Just ask, how are you? Mashallah, how's your health? Alhamdulillah. And how's your studies? Alhamdulillah. I mean, khalas. How's your family? Alhamdulillah. The answer is all alhamdulillah. Mashallah. Khalas. But we comment on someone's, physical body, someone's whatever. You don't know who are the people who feel offended about it. So the honor of a believer, their dignity, right? These are all, you will see, it is all aziz. These are all precious, right, things. And our Prophet, you will never find in his sunnah him asking these questions. Search the whole hadith. You will never find the Prophet commenting on the way Allah has created people, right, in a negative manner. He has never done that, right? But the most will say, "Kif asbahta?" Right? And how have you come this morning? How are you? Alhamdulillah. That's it. But you will never find him say anything that could even lead to even that a pinch in the heart of people that might feel a bit offended, about it. Now I know my niece, in Singapore. And she is darker skin. It's from my family. We all darker. She's darker skin. Right? It's my family's genes, alhamdulillah. Inshallah she'll be doing math. Obviously our genes will be doing math. Right? So, but and people keep commenting on it. And I just make dua that she doesn't feel inferior. That people keep commenting on the dark skin. Why? Nabi Musa was very dark. Nabi Adam was very dark. A lot of Anbiya were dark. And a lot of them were fair. It makes no difference. Right? It is just the way Allah created you. He did that way. Alas. Right? Even my cousin, she was saying that some of the children are on the plump side, some are skinny, some are plump. Right? And it's the way Allah created them. Right? Allah, these are all genealogy. It's all in the genes. The same family, they do the same thing. Some of them grow, some of them don't grow. Right? It's Allah's will. And she just feel that, people should stop commenting because it hurts the feelings of children and it brings them down into inferiority. They feel inferior and it hurts their esteem. And it shouldn't be what their esteem is based on. Because the best in a human being is the taqwa, is their amal, their ibadah. I know their physical state. Right? So people need to just, stop it, especially on children. You never know. After a while, they feel that people are commenting on in the way and they become dissatisfied with the way Allah has created that is haqqul Muslim. Is haqqul Muslim. Like that you control this tongue. Like just say what is clear. How are you? You see a child, how are you? How's school? How's school? Like Hadana. Like Hadana my mama every day. Love your mama every day. Alhamdulillah. She love her mama, but she's very shy. MashaAllah, just say that. I just say, and I say, hey, why is your child doing this? Why is your child like that? Why is your child, and they give, enough. MashaAllah. I know a lot of parents that they avoid certain people because these certain people have a lot of comments on their own children. So they kind of stay out of the way of people of comments. MashaAllah. May Allah make us so give to others, right? That not everything is commented on. If you a lot of things do not need to be commented on, inshallah. And let people live their lives happily, right? As human beings, inshallah. Right, so inshallah, we will continue next. The hukuk, or the rights of brotherhood, is so much. There are entire books written on it. The rights of, which is why the scholars are very afraid of his last question. Maybe. How many of us can pass the last question? Who are your brethren? Can you pass it down? Inshallah, next we'll continue from there. Any questions online? Any questions? Okay. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. There's a good question here. How do you wish good for someone who has betrayed your trust in the worst way? Okay, very good question. When you wish good for them, is you seeing their soul in the akhirah or their soul in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if someone has betrayed you, right, you are seeing that this soul is miskin. And it's a poor soul. That they have done something that is khiyana, right, that goes against trust. Right? So how do you wish good for them? You wish tawbah for them. You wish for them to have tawbah. right, to repent, and you wish for them that Allah forgives their sins completely. That is how you love them. And they rectify their states. Right? So even for someone who has done black magic on someone else, if you find out it was your own so and so who did black magic onto you, right? To how do I love her in this case? She's hurt me in that way, or my family in that way. No, I love that she gets over her hasad, right? Because it's killing her. The black magic is hurting me, yes, but it's dunya first. It's only dunya. The devil is only dunya. Her hasad will destroy her in the akhirah, and that's forever. Right? So poor her, 100% important. So my love for her is I wish she could get over it, over the hasad, and I wish for her to make full tawbah, right, and turn to Allah and rectify her state and be happy in this world. So that's how you could love someone who betrayed you, right? That they are in a very bad state if they betray. I said I was talking to my husband, and I was talking to my husband about because I was reading an article about how I was reading a lot of stuff because people keep asking me stuff, so I did do a lot of research online, and also it goes into our end of times understanding what's going on in the world, right? That when it comes to cheating on spouses, right? And alhamdulillah, as Muslims, when I read stuff online, I'm like, alhamdulillah, we are Muslims. Alhamdulillah. But doesn't mean that Muslims are free of it. Because Muslims, there are also issues amongst the Muslims. But I was reading online and it was saying that the higher percentage of cheaters are women, right? Not men. You always think it's the men, right? But actually, more than 70% of cheating cases in marriages are the women, not the men. This is a receiver. And then I was saying to my husband, I can't imagine, as a woman who's married, how would a woman go to another man? Now, but like you can't even imagine that. I can't even how in the world, because in Arabic it's a statement, alhamu maut. Alham maut. That means the brother-in-law is dead. You know what that means? There are a lot of things happen through the in-law. And if you look online, I was doing a lot of research yesterday. If you look online, all the statistics, it's always the in-law. It's always the in-law. So in Islam, everything, we be very, very strict about things in Islam, right? Many I was saying to him, how is that Jesus? And he said, there's a deep sickness in the heart, right? It's a deep sickness. So if someone can betray someone else, we are so sick inside. We have no self-respect, no dignity, right? No taqwa, no shame, no nothing. Able to reach that level of having an affair. This person needs all your dua. And so you love them in that, you dua for them in a terrible thing, that they could actually go against all of God's laws and go with the trust of their spouse to do something to that extent. It takes I think it takes a lot to actually reach that kind of stage of cheating. Allahu A'lam. May Allah protect us and our children from any of these issues. May Allah subhanahu give us an understanding of how we can treat Muslims with their full rights. صلى الله عليه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل وسلم على بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي أمر الصبيحة المصبيحة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام.
وعليكم السلام.